spreading throughout the community. There has been a very heavy misinformation campaign funded with money coming from outside our city, outside our community, to once again kill any type of investment in public transit. For some reason, they are only concerned about the spending when it comes to the projects that benefit Black and brown communities, or working class communities, than the actual issue. If you care about equity in the city, then you have to care about transit. We need better bus infrastructure. We need better, cheaper ways to get around. So we're standing up today to defend transit for Black and brown people, transit for working class people, transit for all people in the city of Austin. We're not only going to defend it, we're going to help make it, we're going to help build it, we're going to help, and since being part of every part of this process as Prop 8 comes towards the finish line. This is transit for us, this is transit for all, and we're going to make it so. Buses are essential. Buses serve our essential workers. Buses serve our students, our families, our communities. We should be proud of our buses, and we should be proud of our bus drivers, and we should be proud of the workers who build our stations and bus stops and sidewalks. And if we are proud of them, then we should invest in them to make sure that we have good pay, good infrastructure, and good jobs. So what kind of community do we want to be? An individualistic community where each person has to fend for themselves? Or a real connected community where we share the goods and resources? We're here because we believe that better public transit is the key to making our city more accessible for everybody. And there's still a lot of work to be done. We want to make sure that we're not saying Prop 8 is perfect. There's a lot of work to be done in Prop 8 and the process is moving forward. But we also understand that we can no longer just sit by and let what's been going on go on. We have to take a big leap forward now. And what better opportunity than this election? Early voting starting today, or you want to wait till November? We have to take the proper steps needed to make sure we can get the transit that everybody in the city deserves. Austin loves to call itself the liberal haven of the South. And I think things like Prop 8 allow us to do that, right? So we're looking forward to make sure that we're putting out the correct information, making sure that people know the truth about Prop 8 and why it's so desperately needed. We have some amazing folks today, some amazing community folks, and I have the pleasure of introducing one of my favorite, not only people, but Black women in the city, Dr. Pierce Burnett.
Thank you, Chaz. It's always a pleasure to share any space with Chaz Moore. So I'm the president and chief executive officer of Houston-Tillis University, Austin's historically Black college. My primary responsibility as a university president is to remove barriers to student success. The issue of transit as a barrier to their success first came to my attention at the beginning of my tenure here in Austin 5 years ago. I would arrive on campus at the crack of dawn and surprisingly see students sitting at the bus stop at 9th and Chicon. One afternoon, I saw one of those students headed to class on campus, and I asked her where she was going so early in the morning. She shared with me that she was going to work, and she has to leave the campus so early because she has to take 3 buses to get there. I had our Student Affairs office do a survey of our students, and it was quickly very apparent that reliable, affordable, efficient transportation was in fact a barrier to a large percentage of our student body. To get to work, to commute to campus from their off-campus housing, to accept internships, and even to go to the movies or shopping or get their clothes cleaned. Further research showed that it was also an impediment to the faculty and the staff who work on my campus there in East Austin, with many, if not most of them, having a 1 to 2 hour commute in traffic. Because I was living in East Austin, I would just hop into my car every day. I wasn't experiencing this as a hindrance in my own life. Once I had been extremely dependent on public transportation, but I had reached a place in my life where I did not have this experience. So I quickly realized that the current transport system as it is in Austin, in fact, was and is a barrier, an impediment to my student success, to those who I serve, specifically, and for too many members of our community in general. The quality of life for many is negatively affected by a lack of equity and transit opportunities in our city. Reliable and efficient transit is essential to get to work, to get to your health care providers, to get to school, or to spend time with friends who live in another part of town. Moreover, this project is a comprehensive plan and a unique opportunity nationally in that it has embedded funding for the labor of equity as opposed to just the talk about equity of $300 million. This makes it one of its kind in its nation and would stand out for Austin as we call ourselves a prosperous, equitable opportunity city. So this is just an equity component, and as a part of the project management, there's a community advocacy component for constant accountability, which is built into the project to hold ourselves accountable that what we say the proposition will do, it will actually deliver. So I'm encouraging you not to just trust what my brothers and sisters have to say, but that you verify for yourself for the benefits of this project. Be an informed voter. Go to transitnowatx.org, transitnowatx.org for more specifics. Be an informed voter and use your vote not just to vote for yourself, but to vote for our, and I say that in all caps, our community. Your vote is your voice, and you amplify it by exercising your right to make Austin truly a more equitable place. So it's my pleasure to introduce my brother, Brent Payne, from the ATU.
Hello, hello. Testing. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Brent Payne. I'm the president of ATU Local 1091 here in Austin, Texas. I represent all the transit workers here, from UT shuttles to paratransit, and we want you to get behind Prop A. One of the things about the decongestion of Austin is also the promotion of jobs and fair paying jobs for labor. And we've gotten these kind of assurances to make sure that we support Prop A. So I just want to get out there, everybody vote, and understand this is about promoting good jobs for the city of Austin, good paying jobs, good labor supported jobs, and ATU is 100% behind Prop A. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Juan Benitez, Comms Director for Workers' Defense. In just a second, one of our members, Herminia Mendoza Diaz, will be sharing her story with us, and immediately following, I will be translating in English for her.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Herminia Mendoza Díaz. Soy miembro activo de Defensa Laboral por 3 años. La defensa laboral empoderada a los trabajadores inmigrantes de la construcción que tengan trabajos justos y seguros y se conviertan en defensores por los derechos de ellos mismos y sus comunidades. Como inmigrante, yo entiendo lo difícil que es moverme por Austin. Yo no tengo automóvil, así que dependo mucho del transporte público. Para mí, el transporte público es como puedo yo navegar en esta ciudad. Así es como puedo ver a mi familia, ir al supermercado, a la iglesia, ir y venir del trabajo y contribuir a mis comunidades. He visto yo personalmente que los cambios en las rutas, las paradas de autobuses me han impedido el poder moverme en esta ciudad. Algunas personas ven el transporte público como un problema que no les afecta. Y por eso no es una prioridad para ellos, pero sí para muchas familias trabajadoras e inmigrantes sí es una prioridad en Austin, porque somos nosotros los que sufrimos la peor parte de un sistema de tránsito que no es eficiente y confiable. Muchos de Worker Defensa me han dicho que es hora de que Austin invierta en proposición A para mejorar nuestra movilidad en esta ciudad y poder contribuir de manera más eficiente a nuestra comunidad. Contribuimos a esta ciudad y necesitamos los cambios que Project Connect traerá a nuestra comunidad. Una ciudad mejor conectada es un paso hacia la justicia racial y económica para las comunidades, que más dependen del transporte público. La PROP A no solo construirá una ciudad más bien conectada para nuestras comunidades, sino que también creará miles de trabajos nuevos y seguros para quienes construyen nuestra infraestructura de tránsito al incluir los estándares de mejores constructores en este plan. El 70% de la fuerza laboral de la construcción en Texas no nació en este país. El 50% es indocumentado y vamos a estimular nuestra empresa local con un proyecto que tiene como objetivo mejorar cómo nos movemos por esta ciudad. A la misma vez, los trabajadores tendrán mejores estándares de seguridad y trabajos dignos durante toda la construcción. Defensa Laboral se orgullece de respaldar la proposición A y ahora hago un llamado a los votantes de Austin que hagan esta inversión tan necesitada en nuestro sistema de transporte público. A mí en lo personal me afectó mucho el cambio de dos rutas. Una es el 300. En esa ruta yo me movía a las reuniones a defensa laboral. La segunda es la ruta 320. En ella me movía al supermercado Fiesta y a la iglesia, y ahora me siento como un pájaro que le cortaron sus alas y no puede volar. Por favor, necesito que mi voz se escuche porque batallo mucho por no tener cómo llegar a dichos lugares. Gracias.
Translating for Herminia. Good morning, my name is Herminia Mendoza Diaz, and I am a member of Workers' Defense. Workers' Defense is a membership-based organization that empowers Texas's low-income immigrant workers to improve their living and working conditions. As an immigrant, I understand how challenging it is to get around Austin. I don't drive, so I rely heavily on public transportation to move around this city. For me, public transportation is everything. It's how I'm able to see my family, go to the grocery store, church, and get to and from work and contribute to my communities. Over the years, I've been personally impacted by changes in routes, bus stops, and how frequently buses come, and it's held me back in being able to move around my community and this city. Some folks look at public transportation as an issue that doesn't impact them, therefore it isn't a priority for them. But it is a priority for many working families and immigrants in Austin because we're the ones bearing the brunt of a transit system that is not efficient or reliable. I've heard from many members at Workers' Defense that it's time Austin invests in Project Connect to improve our mobility in this city and be able to more efficiently contribute to our communities. We contribute to this city, and we need the changes Project Connect will bring to our communities. At its core, Prop A aims to build a more well-connected city, and that's exactly what we need. A more well-connected city is a step towards racial and economic justice for communities that most rely on public transit. Not only will Prop A build a more well-connected city for our immigrant communities, but those who are most in need of public transportation, but it will also create thousands of good, safe jobs for those building our new transit infrastructure by including better builder standards in this plan. 70% of the construction workforce in Texas is foreign-born. 50% is undocumented, so we're looking at stimulating our local economy with a project that aims to improve how they move around this city, all while guaranteeing that workers will have better safety standards and dignified jobs during its construction. Workers' Defense was proud to endorse Prop A, and now we call on Austin voters to make this long overdue investment in our public transportation system. Thank you.
Thank you all for standing out in the hot sun with us. Yeah.
Good morning, Austin. I'm Nelson Leonard from the Austin NAACP. Short story, I came to this city almost 40 years ago as a 22-year-old student. from the great state of Georgia. And I can tell you, I've seen a lot of projects here based on promise and opportunity. So I have some life experiences here. Some of the questions that we're getting are very real questions because oftentimes black and brown people are not included. Let me share this. Project Connect has an enormous opportunity to connect this entire city in terms of equity, racism, and disparate impact policies. And I believe if it's done the right way, that means we got to work and make sure that what's promised is also delivered. At the NAACP, that's what we do. Any ambitious project is a challenge. How we address these challenges and honesty and truthfulness is going to be the solution. And I believe that this time we have an enormous responsibility to ensure that what's promised is delivered. And when we deliver these resources, we will see our black median income increase for the first time in 20 years. We will see our brown median income increase for the first time in 20 years. If you can't make money, you can't live in this city. Capital Metro and our bus operators are making a very good salary and benefits. As black and brown people here, we need that. So if you want equity, you got to ensure, number one, we have well-paying jobs that allow us to live here, and also build a system that can transfer folks from place to place, especially out in eastern Travis County. So let me say this. I'm excited about this billion-dollar opportunity. But also, I'm making a commitment because it's not enough to promise. We have to work all the way to ensure the money goes where it needs to go. And I believe if we do that, we can change the whole reputation of Austin, Texas. This is not a promise. It's got to be delivered. So join us. We're going to join you in making sure all the questions here are answered because folks have a right to ask questions when it concerns billions and billions of dollars. But I believe our work, our commitment, our experience, and our sincerity will this time ensure we change the city for black and brown people. Thank you very, very much. Let's go forward.
Alright, good morning y'all. My name is Nathan. I'm here representing the Sunrise Hub, the local hub of the Sunrise Movement, which is a youth-led climate movement fighting for climate justice. But we recognize and understand that we are not going to secure a equitable and just future for all the people in our country if we don't fight for economic justice, racial justice, and immigrant justice as much as we fight for climate justice, which is why we are very proud to support all our Austin community groups in urging voters to pass Prop A. Project Connect is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for Austin to begin to address economic, racial, immigrant, and climate justice issues, and we urge all voters to vote yes on Prop A starting today. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Nook Turner and I stand here today representing the original East Austin, representing East Austin before it was gentrified, representing East Austin when it was looking more like me. I'm in support of Project Connect because I understand what's going on with it and I understand the growth and development it can bring to our city. But I want to say as a representative of East Austin, the original East Austin, is that we have to get in as people and make sure that we do the work behind the scenes to make this benefit us. Vote yes, but only vote yes if you're willing to say yes to getting behind the scenes and putting in the work. We already know about urban renewal and all the different developmental plans that have fooled blacks in the past. This will be different if you decide to make it different. It's very beneficial, but only if you put in the sweat equity. And that's all I gotta say. Represent your community, represent your people, and put in the work to make sure that y'all hold this project accountable so it can benefit people that look like you and look like me. Thank you.
Hi folks, my name is Aves Azhar and I'm here as a representative of Planning Our Communities, or POC. As has been mentioned by a lot of folks, this bond is not simply going to be about transit, but a commitment from all of us to stand behind it and do the work that needs to be done. And over the summer, Planning Our Communities, Austin Justice Coalition, PUMA, a lot of the organizations here and more worked on making sure that this was going to be an equitable bond. So what have we been able to achieve over the summer? As Dr. Burnett mentioned, one of the biggest things has been the achievement of $300 million that is going to go towards anti-displacement. And this funding will be allocated based on neighborhood level strategies that will be created through community input. So the community will get to decide how the $300 million for anti-displacement gets funded and spent. And that's critical. The other piece has been the creation of an equity assessment tool. The city will be creating this tool once we are going to pass this bond, and the important part of this will be focusing on anti-displacement, equity, and forming key performance indicators that will allow us to track the success of the equitable measures that are going to be part of this bond. And one major part of that is that if the key performance indicators are not met, this decision and the work that goes around it will go to council and will go to a public hearing. So the community once again gets to get a voice into following through on the equity assessment, and there will be a public dashboard that can be tracked by all community members to ensure that we are meeting our equitable outcomes. And lastly, I just want to mention one other thing that we've been able to achieve is the creation of a community advisory committee. And this advisory committee will be made up of community members like the folks here and other folks who use transit, who live in East Austin, who will be impacted by the creation of a project, and they will be a part of the creation of the project, guiding the project, ensuring that the anti-displacement measures do not work to displace people in East Austin and other parts of the city. So once again, I just want to say a lot of work has been done, but there's a lot of work that yet needs to be done. And everyone is going to have to step up to make sure that this is an equitable project. And we're excited about the work that's already been done, and we're excited about the next stages that come once this bond is passed. Thank you all.
What's your name again? I'm sorry.
It's Aves Azhar, so that's AWAISAZHAR.
Hi there. My name is Yasmin Smith, and I am a proud, born and raised Austinite. And today, I am particularly proud. If you know anything about me, you know I wear many hats. The Director of Development for the Austin Area Urban League, co-organizer for the Black Leaders Collective and the Black Austin Coalition, co-chair of PUMA, People United for Mobility Action, where we prioritize mobility justice and put the person before the project. It is in this last hat, co-chair PUMA, where I was able to be boots on ground for the evolution of Project Connect, of all of the beautiful, amazing equity advances we have been able to make in Project Connect. As Aves was saying, the $300 million for anti-displacement funding, the assessment tool with triggers created with the community, the anti-displacement funding being led by the community. These are all things we are very proud of. And though I am proud of the work we have done, I am more excited for the work we have yet to do. And this is as far as I can take you in my PUMA hat, right? Educating and telling you to continue to be a part of this process and engage. And if you do have any questions, comments, and concerns, you can send that over to info@puma, PUMA-ATX.org. So as far as I can take you in my PUMA hat, so I'm gonna pull over real quick and change hats into Director of Development for the Austin Area Urban League, and further, a Black woman, born and raised in Austin, Texas. Now for those of you that have concerns, I want to tell you I hear you, I see you, I respect you. And knowing our history all so well, I know where those concerns come from. But also knowing our history oh too well, I can tell you one thing for sure, is that Austin has never seen a project of this magnitude before. When you look at Project Connect and its initial investments and its prioritization of equity, we are the best, if not the best, in the entire nation. So today I ask you to continue with us, to continue to allow us to fight every single day for Black, brown, and poor and vulnerable populations. Now, I can't make you a promise of perfection. When you do something revolutionary, there hardly is, but what I can promise, what I can guarantee is that myself, those that sent me and those around me will continue to fight every single day, show up every single day to ensure the promises that have been made in the legal binding documents when it comes to Project Connect are granted and done so in a way that we can all thrive. In Puma, we planted the seeds that have built the coalition you see before you today. And we will continue to sit and water and nurture that seed, but we ask you to do that with us so that we together and the future of Austin can sit in the shade of trees never before imagined. Thank you.
So we're wrapping it up here, and I want to thank everyone for coming out and standing in the hot sun. It got significantly warmer as things progressed. We're going to field a few questions, so if you have any questions, I'm going to ask a few of our guests to answer them and our speakers to answer them, and then we'll do 3 or 4 questions and then we'll wrap it up.
Hi, specific to address the homeowners assistance plan. We've heard so long about Project Connect. Transportation, new buses, the underground tunnel, blah blah blah. But not a lot has been said about the assistance program for people who are displaced. I think that's a big deal. So could someone come and talk to me exactly how's that going to work?
I'm going to ask my...
Yeah.
You got it? Go for it.
Yeah. 6 feet. Okay. Repeat the question for me, sweetheart.
So you got $300 million.
Yes, sir.
In this package.
Yes, sir. Initially, because we're going to seek other money from other partners here pretty soon. Continue.
But for housing assistance for families that are displaced.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How's that going to work?
Okay, great question. So I think what you're asking for is, and stay with me, what you're asking for is the tenderness of the meat. We're not there yet. We're just at the roux stage, right? But what I can tell you is we prepared this roux. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is gumbo, guys. Southern cuisine. What I'm telling you is we've built a foundation for us to address how the money gets split. And when we talk about the process by the distribution of the money, and you're asking me for the answer of that, we negate the ability for the community themselves to decide that, right? We're not at distributing money yet. We're at the point where the community gets to decide, right? Something that hasn't been done before, with the community gets to decide even how that very process will work.
I'm not asking about the nuts and bolts, and I get you're absolutely right. That's
yes,
still,
sir.
The mechanism still has to be built. But what's the vision on this? What's the idea? Because we have heard for decades now of people who have been in homes for years. It's their home, it's their family home, and they're appraised out of their homes and all that. Is that what this is? It's all about it's that safety.
It's a safety. It's stabilization, and stabilization means many things. It can mean affordable housing, but it can also mean home repair. It can mean we created a buffet of options of what can help community members stay in their homes, and it's up to the community members, that community, to decide which buffet option they want. Because again, with every process of Project Connect, what we're seeing in the evolution of transportation is it truly being community-led. Grace, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think, Yaz hit it on the head. There's just one thing I would add to that. I'll wait for it. One thing I was going to add is, as I mentioned, there's going to be neighborhood-level strategies that will be created to follow through on this. And we're hoping the community comes together and decides what those strategies are and what is specifically needed for a particular community. So what is needed for East Riverside is not what's needed for Montopolis. And I think that's a conversation that needs to happen. The other piece of it is, importantly, that we're keeping it open. So rental assistance, home repair programs, affordable housing construction for rental housing, home ownership, down payment assistance. A buffet of options is here to ensure that multiple kinds of residents in the city of Austin, both tenants and homeowners, both newcomers and old stayers, all can benefit from this funding. And as Yaz said, this $300 million is not going to be enough. We're going to need more. there's going to be more pressures beyond just this project that our community is facing. So we're going to continue asking and fighting for more. Thank you.
I guess one question, one thing that's come up is, you know, does this, yes, this would be a big expansion for transit in Austin. This would be a big deal, but does it do enough to meet people of color where they are at this moment in terms of where they are in the community? So what would your response be if somebody would criticize that and say this isn't equitable because it, you know, it doesn't really serve a lot of the people who have been forced out of the community?
Juan, would you be interested in helping to answer this question? A lot of the questions of how equitable is this in terms of how it serves people of color in Austin. Do you want to speak to this? I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, go.
Anybody's fine. Go ahead. I was just going to say, I think, you know, to that question of like, is it expansive enough or not? The first part of this is a long-awaited first step, right? So we've gone through 2 bond propositions that did not pass. And this will be one step, and we will build on it. So already, like when they were talking about it, they've cut back and pared down. So council, keeping in mind how much it would cost and what would be the impact on our taxpayers, pared back what will be done now and what will be constructed later and expanded. So this is the first step on what will be a larger expansion. And that's how cities around the country have worked on it. We've seen that in places like Denver and other places that we're looking for success. And as far as within the city of Austin, this is the first time we're seeing one of our most major transit routes go east of 35. So we're going to see a train go east of 35. We're going to see bus rapid go east of 35. And to date, we have not even had a bus rapid system that has crossed that 35 divide. So really, this is the first time we're going to see a significant amount of investment in infrastructure and transit infrastructure in East Austin. So it's an exciting time, but to your question, it will need to be expanded to further parts. And as we're seeing, the green line is going to go out to Manor. We're going to need other lines that are going to have to go out further out to the people who are further east and further south to where they have been displaced, so they can once again access this city in the way that they deserve to access it.
Can I just add something? Please. Yeah. Thank you, Vase. And I would, to that question, I would also say that equity isn't something you put a rubber stamp on and you're done. Equity is something you have to do every single day. And those that are policymakers, those that are from the community, we have made the commitment to wake up every single day and say, how can this be better? And for those that have worries and concerns, again, I understand, I acknowledge, and I respect. But to those worries and concerns, I say, step up, all right? If you have an issue, if you want to see something addressed, if you want a different nuance of Project Connect, I can tell you from a community leader perspective that when I advocate for something, when I hear a concern from the community, when it comes to Project Connect, and I put that on the forefront, it is addressed. So it's not, if you have worries or concerns, there's still time. It's a growing, evolving project. It will have to be expanded. We will be asking other partners to make sure that initial investment is sustainable throughout Project Connect effectuation. But what I can say is that, again, we've prepared the best room. We've provided in the legal binding documents, we have provided the terrain where the most equitable Project Connect can come to effectuation. But in order to see that effectuation, we need the community to continue to engage.
All right, let's do one last question. Yeah, any more? All right, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys. Thank you for standing in the hot sun, everybody. Appreciate the support.
Spellings of names and all that, because with a name like Koski, I get everything from Cosby to Kawasaki. So,
No, it's funny. I feel like somebody